Welcome back, Pixel family. We have another short feedback session, and this is a submission from Marladian. As you can see, it's an interesting scenery. It's also animated. We have a cat in the foreground as our main subject. I would say, at least it is for me. Whenever we have cats, I'm definitely gonna prioritize them. Now we have also a bench. We have a light lamp. We have a tree on the right side to have more details on the overall image. And in the background, we have a sun very up close. I got it from the comments. And we also have some stars. And generally speaking, I think this already looks great just as it is. Now, I have doubled the first frame here just so we can actually see the differences before and after when I start working on this. But you can see this loop right now. Okay. And the first thing I always like to check is, of course, the values. Now, if I just paint the black color of the entire screen and as usually change the mode to color, you can see the value changes, and there's a clear distinction between the foreground, which is going to be our tree, lamp, cat, and so on, and the background, which is very good. So we do have this clear distinction between values, and even this upper left corner, which is very dark, is also separated from our foreground by this layer of the sun, which is very bright. Now let's talk about stylistic preferences. Personally, I do think there are a couple of things that you could do differently, but do keep in mind that these are just preferences, okay? So these are not like rules set in stone. Now, the first thing that I think could be done differently are the rendering of these leaves right here. So do you see these highlights? They're only 1 pixel. If you have already bundled up the leaves in such sections, try to think of them as one large volume, okay? So to give you an example, do you see right here how you have this entire section? Let's try to use a different color. Okay, so try to imagine that's like a larger shape with larger volumes. So if I go over this entire shape like that, do you see how more volume it looks like? If I repeat this same process, let's say here as well, let's run it up here as well. So I'm avoiding 1 pixel thickness when it comes to the leaves and foliage in this case. And you will see how it's going to be transformed. Now I'm just going to speed this one up because this is just a stylistic preference that you may or may not want, okay? Okay, there we go. So this is the before and this is after. Do you see how much more volume the tree has? Personally, this is just a stylistic preference on how you can render the leaves on the tree. Even here, if you think something is closer to us, again, you can just create some sections which are, again, bundled up leaves together. The other thing that I would personally do is because we have our grass right here in the foreground. And do you see how it connects to this tree trunk? And it only uses 2 tones. So we have only 2 colors to work with for the grass. And we also have the same for this tree trunk section, okay? Now, personally, I would like to do the same, but for the leaves as well, because if they are so very close to us, I wouldn't make them in so many details and so bright. I would focus the attention of this entire image even more on the background. Do you see how you didn't add any details or highlights on this bench? I would do the same thing here for these leaves. So here's another, again, stylistic choice that you could be doing. Simply darken everything up like that. And now if you want to create some details, you can use the shadow tone. Again, focus on larger shapes. So there we go. Again, this is going to be very quick just to get the message across. Okay, there we go. Do you see how the tree is no longer that important and we can focus more on these intricate shapes of the sun in the background? And if I turn on the value composition, do you see how this tree now is even more clearly defined as part of the foreground, just as this light lamp is? Now, this is what I would personally do, okay? This kind of thing. So that's all for this feedback session. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's quite a bit short one because I don't want to mess around with this type of illustration too much because I think it looks really, really nice. Okay, that's all for this video. As always, remember to relax, enjoy, and have fun.